where do we get this idea of religion, and how has it evolved, and is it relevant for today's time and age? More importantly, is it relevant to an individual? See, there are two major divisions of religions. One is the monotheistic religion, which comprises of Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, and the Eastern religions of Hinduism, Buddhism, and few other religions. All these religions are ancient. In a sense, Judaism has a history of, I would say, at least 6,000 years, Christianity about 2,000 years, Islam about 1,500 years, Hinduism about 8,000 years. Although it was not called Hinduism, the collection of religious practices have been passed on from so many years. Now, as an individual seeking the truth, see, why would you go to religion? What is the affinity of religion? Why do you go to a temple, or why do you go to a church? You go in search of yourself, because these places talk about solutions for your life, talk about a way of going beyond pain and suffering, or talk about heaven and hell. So ultimately, religion is about you. It's about your practices, and it's about your way of life. So let me talk about, how does a religion originate? Where does it originate from? See, religions are not created as a conscious process. For example, Buddha did not create Buddhism. Jesus did not create Christianity. Similarly, Krishna did not create Hinduism. These were individuals who went in search of truth by questioning the current prevailing religious practices of their time. They were not just practicing what was being taught to them, they were questioning, they were seeking, they were learning. In a way, they had this sense of understanding that there is something more to me than what I'm just learning from the books or the scriptures. So they go on this individual journey, and more often than not, it is the journey of meditation. That is why you can see the founders of all the religions have been associated with spending time alone by staying separate from the religious practices of that time. So they are seen as meditators, as people who are searching for this truth. But once they find this truth, they have a desire to share this. So that is what happens when they start sharing. There is a teaching. As long as the individual is alive, the awakened teacher is alive, students have the opportunity to ask questions, to learn from him. And of course, the nature of inner reality is so different from what we see around us, and since there is no separate language to express the inner reality, the awakened teachers use the same language that is prevalent during their time. Religion happens after the death of an awakened teacher. Religion is holding on to the relics of the truth that was once alive. So what happens over a period of time is people bring in their own ideas and concepts to the teachings of an awakened person. And more often than not, they simply make this magnanimous teaching of self-realization and awakening into moral codes, because that is all what they're interested in. They're interested in propagating these teachings as a way of making people conform to their understanding of life. What started as an individual's desire to teach liberation becomes a form of dogmatism. See, that is why religion has always been dogmatic. It has certain principles, certain concepts, certain ideas, and you simply have to believe in those ideas. Whether they're relevant or not, Whether those ideas are true or not, it doesn't matter. You simply have to believe in them. This is where an individual is lost. Now he's listening to this language of truth. He's listening to these ideas of heaven and hell. He's listening to these ideas of good and bad. But when he tries to apply any of these teachings to his own life, it seems like he's crippled by these ideologies. It doesn't help him to think freely. It doesn't help him to question. See, one of the most fundamental forces of human intelligence is questioning. Now, religion stops that very questioning process by handing you down a ready-made theology or a concept of life. And of course, over the years, they start changing the language of the teachers, and eventually there's too much of distortion, too much of distance between you and the person who was teaching. For example, think about it. All the founders, so-called founders of religions, they were all normal people to begin with. They grew up with the same insecurities that you are in now. They grew up with the same questions, and somehow they found a way to the answer. But what has religion projected them to be? All of them have become gods now. All of them have come from somewhere else. They've come from heaven. For example, Christ is an absolute God. All his human qualities, his teachings, everything has been completely stripped off from him. And there is such an enormous distance, such an enormous gap between you and the gods that you pray to. There is not even a desire to aspire to be like them. When originally it all started as a quest to try and become like your teachers, not imitate them, but to try and experience what they've experienced. The moment you put something on a pedestal and say, this is the ideal that you need to reach out to, this is what you need to live up to, then you become inferior. Now, how can you nurture this innocence and questioning inside a person when you have already, even before he begins, you've told him that you are somewhere inferior? This is what a teacher who is alive, who has a sense of realization, would have avoided. He would never have put himself on a pedestal. He would have been among people, he would have been teaching the message, but somewhere over the period of time, everything would have been distorted. See, today, anyways, religion is not an answer for the questions of your life. Religion only has a cultural value. Now you can ask this question, I'm already a part of a religion. I'm already practicing certain things that have been passed down to me, and whether I want it or not, I am in my religion and I like my religion. See, my objective is not to tell you to switch religions or to criticize it. What I'm trying to tell is, all I'm asking you to do is see what religion stands for in your life. Religion is not a substitute for your seeking, for your questioning. And since religion pretends to offer you the answers, it has destroyed the seeker in you by telling you that there is already an existing concept of reality, and it comes from our scriptures, it comes from our books, and that's about it. You just have to follow it. See, religion offers a shortcut, but we know very well through the experiences of life that there is no shortcut to self-realization. There is no shortcut to transcending pain and suffering. And at the same time, it doesn't take lifetimes. It doesn't take forever. You just have to get hold of the right teaching, the right method of practice, and daily spend 1 hour or 2 hours regularly practicing. You will get there. It is not an impossibility. But if you rely on religion for your self-realization, you will be absolutely disappointed, because religion says, here it is, the moment you are baptized, that is done, you have reached. The moment you are a Hindu, the moment you are a Christian, the moment you are a Muslim, automatically the gates of heaven have opened for you. All you have to do is just simply believe, and all your pain and suffering is taken away. Now tell me, if that was the fact, why are people still suffering? If the religion could just simply take away all my fears and frustrations, then tell me, which religion should I follow? I'll follow that. But we know it doesn't work this way. Religion has almost become a way of life to people, not in a sense that it will teach you the truth of life, but it is simply a way of life. Just like the way you wake up in the morning and go to work and come back, religious people get up in the morning, go do their preaching and teaching and come back home. That's about it. Tell me, how many religious leaders have the desire within to help you to realize the truth? See, I give this example, right? Spirituality and religion use the same language. There's no difference. That is why people are confused. When religion talks about salvation, a person who is seeking his own salvation feels that, yes, they're talking about my salvation. It's the same language. See, it's like you're taking a walk and you look at a board that says horse riding. Right? Now, there is a spiritual place and there is a religious place. Both of them have put up their shop telling that it's horse riding. But what they don't tell you is, if spirituality is you riding the horse, religion is the horse riding you. But they don't tell you, because it's the same horse riding. Only when you get into the religious system, you'll realize that this is not helping me. I'm in more pain and suffering because of all this burden of ideologies, dogmas, and philosophies. See, spirituality is like a flower. Its essence is in blooming. Its essence is in being alive and aware to what is happening around it. And in that awareness, it has to bloom on its own. If you try to put your hand inside the bud and try and open it, it's going to look ugly. You're going to kill the bud. You're not going to find the flower. And that is what religions have done. No matter how subtly they try to communicate the message, they're still trying to put their hand inside you and trying to awaken you. Religion, if it is true, it has to inspire you. Automatically you should feel, yes, I am inspired by this ideology, I am inspired by this philosophy. Now, all of them have to go on preaching precisely because it's not inspiring, precisely because it is not helpful. But if you tell a religious person that what you're teaching is not true, it's going to make him angry because he believes in it truly. See, a religious person is not a bad person. It is just that he's blind to the nature of truth. See, in a way, man has to go through this phase of life. He takes birth in blindness. He grows up in blindness. Till he seeks light, till he seeks true understanding, he'll always remain blind. And you might think I'm just being extremely critical about religions. Absolutely not. If religion were to give us the solution, which religion is offering the solution and what is the solution? Still, there is violence in the name of religion. Still, there's fundamentalism in today's day and age. With so much of science, so much of technology, so much of humanism and humanity and awareness, still there are people fighting over what color dress their religion should be associated with. Still, they're fighting over certain names, certain ideologies about things that happened 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago. And if this is the quest for truth, then what else can I call this apart from being absolutely blinded? See, spirituality is a completely different process. It starts from the individual and it ends with the individual. There are no middlemen on the path of spirituality. It is your journey, it is your quest. At the most, you can take help of teachers who have traveled before you and seek guidance. And in today's world, this guidance is available in so many different forms. You don't have to absolutely attach yourself to one teacher and one teaching. You can learn from multiple teachers, you can learn from multiple religions. See, as long as you are seeking, you will know what to take from religion and what to discard. But if you blindly follow the religion, you will become a part of that blindness. And again, you will start arguing about what is right, what is wrong, but your inner spirituality never awakens. Stepping away from all these concepts and just looking within, that's where meditation comes in. Meditation is the purest form. Even if you want to use the word religion, if you don't want to let go of it, make meditation itself your religion. It is your own individual personal religion. Explore your nature of mind, explore your nature of body. Try and understand who you are. That will get you to the place that you're seeking to go, not ideologies and concepts. Do we have any questions? See, this division between man and God, heaven and hell, above and below, should end. There is no division. Heaven and hell are not places. And almost all religions talk about heaven and hell as if they are physically located somewhere above the earth. I mean, think about where these ideologies come from. It comes from a time when they used to think that the earth was flat. So they said the heaven is above, the hell is below. Now we know that we are living on a globe. On a globe, what is above and what is below? It is a rotating globe. There is no above, there is no below. And we have traveled all the way to moon. And still we have not found that one place where angels and gods and all the divine beings are located. See, if science has shown us anything, it has shown us that whatever we are seeking is right here, within us. Heaven and hell are not places, it is states of mind. You can make your life into a hell if you blind yourself with all idiotic ideologies that don't liberate you. If you can open up to the possibilities of seeking and learning and questioning and inquiring, and have a little bit of trust to look within to see what is happening, then that becomes your way out. That becomes your heaven. That seeking process, that questioning itself will become your heaven. These two states of mind are within you. It is how you seek, how you question, that is what determines whether you will find that inner peace that you're seeking or not.